Cochran from Love and Learn Yoga. Today I'll be doing a sequence that feels really great for your lower back. So I have 2 blankets, 2 yoga blocks, and ideally 2 straps. If not, 1 strap will be fine. See you back on the mat. Yes, hi, welcome back. So I have a blanket folded out on my mat just to for the knees to feel comfortable. So come on to your knees and your hands. Cat-cow. Have your knees under your hips, have your hands under your shoulders. Spread the fingers and roll the inner arms forward. So the inner elbow creases come forward, the inner arms come forward. Look a little forward and feel those inner arms rolling forward. That spreads your collarbones. And now round your back. Exhale, round your back. Inhale, look up. Exhale, round your back. So to round your back, move the sacrum, the top of the buttocks, down towards the lower buttocks, scooping your navel into the spine. Inhale, look up. Exhale, scooping the navel up to your spine. Inhale, concave back. Exhale. And as you exhale, press your hands, lift up through your inner arms, broaden the shoulder blades. One more time, inhale, look up, concave back, navel to the floor. The arms are still lifting up. And one last time, concave back. And then widen your knees. Bring your toes together. And if it's hard to sit back on your heels like this, you can make a roll here as big as you want and have the top of the feet on that roll. That gives you a little space, the top of your feet on that roll. Now sit back and move the top of the buttocks back. Stretch your arms forward. And just let your head, don't let it come all the way to the floor. Just bring your head in between your arms. Pressing, using your hands to press the outer hips back. Top of the buttocks to the lower buttocks. Soften your belly. And then come up. Now for this next pose, it's cat-cow pose again, but we're going to add 2 blocks and see how that feels different. So have 2 blocks. So yoga is so much about noticing your body, noticing what the different movements feel like. So now have the blocks. My blocks are soft, but if you have harder blocks, you can fold the blanket over those blocks. Come onto your knees on those blocks. And then repeat cat-cow. So scoop the navel up to your spine. Press the hands, lift up through your inner arms. Roll those inner arms forward so the shoulder blades spread. Inhale, concave back. Lift up through your arms. And exhale. Move that top of the buttocks back. Lift the spine, lift the navel to the spine. And just notice, how does it feel different to have your knees on the blocks? I think it gives a little more movement in the lower back. So notice how there's a little more movement in the pelvis, the pelvic area, the lower back. Exhale. One last time. Good. And then come back. Undo the blankets. Now move your, have your blocks in front. And this time tuck your toes under. And gently sit back on your heels. Feel the soles of the feet getting a nice stretch. Reaching, pressing the blocks, reaching your outer hips back. Now if you have knee problems, you can put a blanket here under your buttocks and between the heels, and a stretch. Press the blocks forward and make the movement come from your pelvis. Move the top of the buttocks back. Exhale. Spread your navel, relax your navel. And then come up, and again come back with your toes together and your knees apart. Bring the block in. Other block to the side, sit back. Press your hands, move the sacrum back, outer hips back, and then roll your inner arms up. Spread across the collarbones, and then reach the hands forward. Lifting those arms up, the arms are working here, and then bring the head, forehead down on the block, forehead down on the block. Now if you have a much rounder back and you are up higher and your head is sinking a lot, then lift the block up, lift the block higher. And put the forehead on the higher block. Press the index and the thumb, roll the arms up. Take your hips back, take the back of the pelvis, the sacrum back. Couple of breaths here. Come up, have your blocks in to the side of the mat, and just roll the blanket a little bit out of the way so your feet are on the mat. Tuck your toes. So see how my hands are a little bit in front of my shoulders, my knees are a little bit behind my hips. Now again, I roll those inner arms forward. And then we'll come up to a downward facing dog, but through a bent legs. So watch here as I'm pressing the hands and taking the outer hips back. So now I'm in the same position as you were just in before. I'm just a little raised up a little bit. So notice that length I'm creating from my hands to my outer hips. And I'm taking my chest towards the legs, reaching and lengthening, and then I'm straightening my legs, pressing the knees back, shins back, and lifting up from the back of my heels to my sit bones, drawing the legs up. Sacrum, back of the pelvis, moving up and back. And then come down all the way. Now join me for this next pose. It's called Supta Paramhustasana, hand to toe pose. And we're going to use 2 belts, ideally. If you have just 1 belt, that's fine too. Welcome back. So we're going to use 2 belts and a folded blanket. It's going to be on the side of the hip. Now, so I have to explain a little bit what we're going to do with these belts. You're going to have a long belt with a big loop, and then you're going to have a belt that's just open, an open belt. Now I'm going to first show this important, what I call wedging in. So let's do that first. So sit in the center of your mat, have your feet at the wall, heels and toes at the wall, and lie back. So when you lie back, the knees should still be a little straight, a little bit bent here. Hold the mat, press your shoulders down, and now without lifting the buttocks, the pelvis, press your thighs down, straighten the legs. So you could go like this and feel, bend the knees, straighten the knees, feel what happens. So you should get a sense of the tailbone moving towards the wall and the lumbar spine, the lower spine, lengthening. So stretch your arms over your head if your arms don't reach, if your shoulders are tight. Raise up with a couple of blankets behind. Inhale, exhale, bring your right knee into your chest. Stretch out. Exhale, left knee into your chest. And again, inhale. Exhale, right knee into your chest. See how I'm reaching out through my inner ankles here. Shoulders down towards the floor. And I'm pressing that straight leg foot into the wall. Now if this feels really tight, when you bring the knees in, if this feels really tight on the front of your thighs here, you can get this leg high on the wall. You just need to get a little closer into the wall and wedge back in. Reach your arms over your head one last time. Now, I'm going to explain the belt. So you're going to have a big loop. You're going to bring this belt around your right foot and around the left leg, like this. Around the right foot, press that foot into the wall, and have the buckle here in the outer hip. And then you take the other belt and you put the belt around the bottom end of the foot. And again, get a little closer so this leg's bent, and then stretch the leg. Now this belt, you can tighten it. This belt will pull your sit bone towards the wall. It'll lengthen your spine. It's also a great pose for scoliosis. It'll lengthen the lumbar spine. Now you hold the belt. Now this blanket, we're going to bring this back over to the side of the outer left hip. Stretch it right onto the side, palm down. And then I slowly bring this leg to the side. So I keep pressing my inner big toe into the wall, or my big toe into the wall, and that's taking the front of that thigh away from the pelvis. Bring your elbow down. Turn your belly away from that left leg. And the outer thigh is supported on the blanket. The inner thigh is stretching from the inner groin to your inner ankle bone. And then from the little toe, left foot, little toe, you draw down into this outer hip, drawing the femur bone into the hip socket. Breathe. And bring the leg up. Release. Now we're going to switch. So the way to switch is you take the belt around the ball mount, and I like to have the buckle on the outside of my thigh. So I take the belt around the ball mount on my left foot, bring it around the thigh, and bring the knee in. And this belt is tight here. And put the belt around the ball mount of my right foot. Good, and then just stretch the leg right up. And press that left toe into the wall. So this belt is pulling my right thigh away from my pelvis. That's what I want. And now switch this blanket over. You can have a second blanket on the other side. Draw your shoulders down towards the mat. Lengthen that right sit bone to the wall. So the spine lengthens. Press the left thigh down into the mat. And then hold the belt with a straight arm, right arm to the side. Reach that leg. Exhale. Reach the leg to the side. Over that blanket. The blanket is right up against the hip. And you can put the elbow down on the floor. Reach out from the inner groin to the inner ankle bone. And draw back from the little toe side of your right foot into the femur, into the hip socket. Draw the bone into the hip socket. Turn the belly to the left. And bring the leg up. Let go of the belt. And let's do this one more time. So you switch. Take the left foot into the belt. I just kind of turned the belt around so I have the buckle on the outside. So the belt goes around my right foot and it goes around the left thigh. Move the blanket over, right up against the hip, and you can also use a block there. That's fine too. It's a little harder, but that's okay. Now, press the right ball mount, big toe into the wall. Tighten this if you need to. Take the thigh, the belt will pull the thigh away from the pelvis. You can even put your hand here, press that thigh away. Reach up through the heel, stretch the back of the knee, straight leg. Now if that leg doesn't go straight here, the hamstrings are tight, then go a little closer to the wall and put your foot higher on the wall. Alright? The leg should get to 90 here. And then hold the belt, right arm to the side, and exhale, lower that leg over the blanket or block. Turn the belly to the right. Press the right foot into the wall, inner foot pressing into the wall. And again, from the inner groin, reach out to the inner ankle bone, the big toe, and then draw the leg back into the hip socket from the little toe side, the outer knee. Soften your throat. So this is a great pose for stretching that inner thigh area. Now take the belt off. One last time, switch it over. I turn the belt around and I put it, around my left foot, ball mount, and around my right outer hip. Bring the knee in, put the belt around the right ball mount, and at first just bring that right hand to your right front thigh and press the thigh away from you. And the belt already does this for you. But just really feel that action. Stretch up through your heel. Straighten the back of that knee. And switch. Hold the belt with the right hand straight on. Left hand to the side. And you could try to bring that leg over to the side without the blanket, but it's good just to do the blanket to begin with. Now reach that sit bone of the right leg towards the wall, and then exhale. Bring the leg to the side. Without a blanket on the outer hip, it's a lot more abdominal work. I just want to focus on the stretch of the spine, the sit bone moving to the wall of that right leg. Reach up through the inner leg. Draw back through the outer leg into the hip socket. Keeping the left leg firm on the floor, pressing down, pressing into the wall. And an inhale, come up. Bend the leg. Take the belts off. Roll to your side. And come up. Now join me back for another pose lying on the back, which is a great hip opening pose. So come to lying on your back and bring your knees into your chest. So I'm holding the mat and I'm just pushing. Let's do this again. So hold the mat and push the mat towards the feet. So notice how that lengthens the lumbar spine. And the navel goes down to your spine. And then bring the feet in. Now, cross the legs as if you were sitting cross-legged on a chair. And then just lift your head up. Hold the outer shins and pull the outer shins towards you. So if you're seeing this from this way, lift your head and pull the shins and the ankles out to the side. You can put your head back down. Bringing your knees into your chest. Breathe. Relax the navel. And then let go. And let's do that from the other side. Hold the mat, pull it towards you, pull it away from you. And I'll turn around. And bring the knees in, cross the other leg on top. And then lift your head and get hold of each ankle. And pull the knees in a little closer, bring your head down on the floor. Take a few breaths here. Pull the ankles to the side. And then let's switch again one more time. Left leg across the right. Lift the head, hold the ankles. And your pose might look a little different than my pose, depending how our hips are, how the hip socket is, how the ball of the femur is in the hip. And switch, right leg over the left. Lift the head, hold the ankles, pull the knees in a little closer and pull the ankles, the lower legs out to the sides. Place your head, breathe. And then roll to your side and come up. This next pose we're going to have two blocks. So put these blocks on top of each other at the wall, like that. And then come to standing. Have your foot behind, or on top of the block rather. Hold the wall and step back. And turn that back foot deeply in, right? So the back of the thigh can roll from the inner thigh to the outer thigh, and then I can move my left hip forward. Hold the wall, press your hands into the wall, take the top of the buttocks down, sacrum down, and then bend the right knee. Bend the right knee. Draw that right outer knee into the right hip. Draw the leg into the hip. Buttocks going down to the back heel, and stretch your arms up the wall. So you're getting a long stretch from the back heel all the way up to the crown of your head, to your hands. Keeping that back heel, outer heel pressing, rolling the inner thigh back. And keep bending the front leg, drawing the outer knee back into the hip. Chest lifted. One more breath here. And straighten the leg, hold the wall, step down, and let's do the other side. So left foot on the block, step back, quite a bit back, turn that back foot in deeply, so you can roll the inner thigh back and spread the back of that thigh. Move the outer right hip forward, hold the wall, press into the wall, take the buttocks down to the back heel, and then bend the left leg. Bend the left leg. So this left knee wants to turn in and the hip come forward. So draw the outer hip, draw the leg back into the hip. Bend the leg a lot. Walk your hands up. Press the hands into the wall and connect to that back heel. Buttocks to the back heel. Outer heel, back heel, pressing, rolling the inner thigh back, drawing that outer left femur bone into the hip. And come up, walk the hands down, step off the block. Good. Now for this next pose, we're going to have one blanket. Keep that in the center of your mat. And then come to all fours again. Now we're going to do a little bit of strengthening for the lower back. So just find the wall behind you. So you just have your toe mounts on the wall. So I want to be a little bit closer. So let me show it with the left leg. So stretch your left leg back to the wall. See how now I'm just concaving my back. So I want to engage my abdominal here. So I'm going to draw the navel into the spine and take the top of the buttocks to the lower buttocks towards that back heel. Like we just took the buttocks towards the back heel in the previous pose. And move the navel to the spine and release. Other leg back to the wall. Stretch that leg so it's just hip height. Because if I go higher, I'm going to arch. So just go hip height. Back to the wall. Move the navel to the spine. Buttocks towards the back heel. Lift that thigh. Straighten that back leg. And then come down. This leg, lift the left leg up. Straighten the leg, just hip height, navel to the spine, buttocks to the back heel. Straighten your arms, take a couple of breaths here. So the arms are also getting a workout. Roll the inner arms forward. And switch side. Right leg pressing, inner leg reaching the ceiling, navel to the spine. Good. And then if you want to have a little more workout for your abs, which is good for the lower back, come on down onto the floor, elbows, forearms on the floor, and come into a plank. You can also interlace the hands, whatever works for you here. So, feet back, and lower the buttocks down. Take those top of the buttocks towards the heels. Lift the navel up into the spine so I'm not sinking. Right. Now if this is too hard, bring the knees to the floor, keep the navel to the spine. Right? So I'm keeping the whole torso firm here. If you have your knees lifted for both poses, press your elbows. Don't sink in the shoulders. Keep the shoulders away from the neck to the best of your ability. Maybe count to 10, maybe count to 15, maybe count to 30, and then come down, take a rest. Rest your head. And then do this a couple of more times. I'm going to show it one more time. So tuck your toes. Either come up on your knees or come all the way up with the legs. If your legs are lifted, press the thighs to the ceiling, the inner thighs to the ceiling. Buttocks towards the heels. Navel to spine. And be firm in the shoulders. Shoulders away from the ears. Maybe count here. You can keep it 30 seconds, 5 sets of 30 seconds. Great. Breathe. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And come down. Rest. And then roll to your side. And let's set up for a nice Shavasana. So meet me back on the mat. So for this Shavasana, I would like to use 2 blocks. I'm going to have them like this. I'm going to have a blanket like this. And I'm going to have a blanket for my head. And I just want to lift my legs up a little bit. So I'm going to make a loop that's small and bring that around just above the knees. Loop the belt. Now be centered on your mat and see how I lift my buttocks to move the tailbone, right? Tailbone towards the blanket. That already scoops my navel in. And then lie back. Have your head blanket under your neck, under your head, not under your shoulders, just the head. And then let your legs relax on that setup. Let the legs relax out into the belt. A chair is nice too. You can do the same. You can lift your shins, your calves up on a chair. Now if your chin goes back, then you need a little more height under the head. Everyone just take the fingers behind the head and move the back of the head away from the neck. Then release your head down. Roll your inner arms up to the ceiling, inner palms to the ceiling. And an exhale. Release your body into the mat. Relax the navel. Relax your palms. Relax your shoulder blades and the upper arms down. Relax the legs out into that belt. Soften your throat. Let the skin on your face soften and spread. The skin on your forehead spread. The space between the eyebrows. Relax there, spread there. as you're ready, take a slightly deeper breath and exhale fully. Bring your hands to your torso. And bend your legs into your chest. Take the belt off and roll to your side. Support the head. Bring the knees towards the chest. Take a couple of breaths on your side. And then pressing with your hand into the floor with the head last, come up to sitting. And sit cross-legged. Sit tall. Join your palms at the center of your chest. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me today. See you again soon.